Hello everyone, Osman here. Welcome back to another video. I am going to be doing my series review for Hawkeye, mainly just reviewing the last 3 episodes or so, just covering everything I've, seen from the show, giving my thoughts. Before I cover any of that, don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as just leave a comment letting me know, did you watch the Hawkeye series? Did you love the series, like the series overall? Did you think that the character himself after the series ended was better or something? Just let me know down below in the comments. I like the series overall. Didn't love it. I think it's actually decent enough. It's entertaining enough for a Marvel show. Has sort of lighthearted moments, as well as it also has, more of that, but mainly it also has a little bit darker-ish moments. Not even dark, but a little bit more serious moments, I guess, in that regard. It's fun in some aspects. The dynamics between the characters are great. Interesting between Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. That was interesting throughout the show. I'm not going to cover each individual other episode I've seen after episode 3. I'm just going to go skip around to what I liked a lot, or, just the things that stood out to me. Just the uncovering of Echo's story, as I mentioned even before, after that, and exploring more of her story after that was interesting. They had a lot of ties to the Kingpin, and lo and behold, the Kingpin was actually introduced in episode 6. He was teased at the end of episode 5, we saw a snapshot of it. When I saw it in episode 5, I was of him on the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And he comes in, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. I was right, just like everybody else. And I don't think he was as menacing as he was on Daredevil, or in the Marvel Netflix shows, but I still think that he still had the mannerisms and all the sort of things that make the character of Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, scary anyways. So that's kind of what I find to be pretty incredible. He still delivers in the performance a little bit. I still liked him in that show. He still kind of has the aggressive fighting style that he did in the show originally when he's fighting Kate Bishop. Same that sort of thing, but it's not as violent. I know a lot of people are oh, it should be dark and more violent and everything like that, but he's more watered down in this. But I don't know. I just think they do whatever they can to stick to Netflix version of Kingpin, so I think they try their best regardless. I think that's fine and it works out well, and I can't wait for him to fight Spider-Man or even Daredevil in the future, considering that Charlie Cox's Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is in the universe now. It's going to be interesting to see how that sort of ties in together. That to me is phenomenal, or it's going to be really cool. Echo, she kind of became a character that, she kind of had some interesting moments in it as well, but it was sort of interesting, I guess, sort of seeing how she wanted to go after the man that killed her father. Hawkeye unveiled his identity to her. That was a good way of tying that all together and just ending that whole thing, instead of him just being the Ronin, he's dangerous. At least they finally tied that up together, them referring back to Black Widow and how she died and everything, and as well telling you that whole story. That was a good way to tie that up as well, and sort of bringing a little bit of emotion to that. The swordsman, or Jack Duquesne or something, Tony Dalton's character, I kind of like his character because he's very suave, he's very charming, all that kind of stuff. He just doesn't seem to be incredibly crazy or angry. I don't know, even in Better Call Saul, the other show I mentioned about that he was in, the actor was in, he still played a sort of calm and cool character. I like that he brought that sort of energy into the character like this. Vera Farmiga, who plays Eleanor, she has a tie to Kingpin. I just think that was fine. Her character was okay. She, I think, sent the hit on Hawkeye, just sent someone to kill Hawkeye. I thought it was fine. The Tracksuit Mafia, they are very much incompetent. They don't really know what they're up to. They don't know what they want to do. I still, again, love the use of the arrows and stuff like that. I just really think that the arrows are really cool, and the way that they use them, the trick arrows and everything, I think those are cool visual effects, especially for a character, like I said, with Hawkeye, who doesn't even have superpowers. I just love the visual effects of that. Those trick arrows sort of compensate for the crazy superpowers all these other characters have in this universe, in my opinion. There's a lot of stuff in here to sort of bring into the fold. Yelena Belova, she's from Black Widow. The introduction of her character coming back from that was interesting. I was never really that big of a fan of her. I mean, her character was fine in Black Widow. She was kind of interesting, kind of funny-ish, but, I wasn't oh my gosh, she's so funny, but she's more of a comic relief type of character. I think episode 5, where she was talking to Kate Bishop anyways, and there was a back and forth between them, and it was fine. I think I liked her more in episode 6, maybe the final episode, but the way that she was able to discover who Hawkeye was okay, he had a whistle or something that was reminiscent that Black Widow did with Yelena Belova, so they just brought that into it. But a lot of people were oh, that's very cheap or weird. I'm I don't know, it was fine. It kind of it was a callback to the Black Widow movie that came out earlier this year, of 2021. Not something that bothered me too much. Just the show overall, it's good. If I had to be honest, it's probably my least favorite. You knew that he was going to come back for Christmas anyways. They were oh, is he going to come back? Is he not going to come back? He was, obviously, that's the case. There's no way they're going to have him be off of the whole thing. The whole LARPers thing, they were there for comic relief. I just kind of like how they were teaming up with him, but I didn't like the whole thing where it was like, okay, they want to be superheroes too. It was just weird. Overall, series was fine. I liked it. Least favorite of the Marvel series so far this year. Didn't hate it. I liked it. That's what I would say. Nothing mind-blowing. Anybody who's like, I guess, a Hawkeye fan or just a Marvel fan in general, I think they will like this. So I give it a thumbs up, or maybe if I had to do it like by a numerical score-wise, like a 6 out of 10, roughly. I know it seems kind of low, but either way, I guess good. A lot of people think that Kingpin died at the end of the series, but I heard that that's actually not the case. I mean, a comic book run that Kingpin doesn't die. There's like, someone, Maya shoots him in the eye, and he's back, and he's like, oh, family doesn't see eye to eye. So that probably is probably a reference to his comic book, sort of the thing that happened to him in the comic book. So that's what happens. But still, give it a watch if you're a Marvel fan. That's my series review of Hawkeye. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.